Good evening. I'm Clint Dawson. I'm the chair of the Aerospace Engineering Department. I'm excited to welcome you all back to Austin to our first in-person induction ceremony since we elected our inaugural class in April of 2019. So let's clap. So tonight, because we had to cancel the previous 2 years of an in-person induction ceremonies due to the pandemic, we'll be inducting the classes of 2020, 2021, and 2022. Just to let everyone know, we are recording this evening's ceremony, and we will send a copy of both the recording and tonight's slides to Academy members at a later date. The ASE Academy of Distinguished Alumni was established in 2019 to honor graduates of the aerospace, computational, and engineering mechanics programs who have led distinguished careers in industry, government, or academia, and to recognize their outstanding accomplishments. Academy members also serve as role models for our current students. Before we begin the ceremony, we'll have dinner, and then I'll turn it over to Wallace Fowler for a few words. Here's a quick look at this evening's agenda. So we'll plan to begin the ceremony around 7:15 or once everyone is finished eating. Until then, please enjoy dinner and the company of your family and friends. I'll see you again in about 30 minutes. You enjoyed your dinner or are still enjoying your dinner? So it's time to get started with the evening ceremony. Before we begin, I'd like to turn it over to Professor Emeritus Wallace Fowler, our current Academy of Distinguished Alumni President. Most of you know Wally well, and we're happy to have him here with us this evening to share some important officer information. Dr. Fowler earned all 3 of his degrees at UT Austin and has been a faculty member of the department since 1965. He developed the spacecraft mission design course in 1985 and taught the course nearly every semester until his retirement in January 2017. Wally has served as Associate Director and Director of NASA's Texas Space Grant Consortium. He's received numerous teaching awards and is a fellow of both AIAA and ASE. Also served as visiting staff at the USAF Test Pilot School during summer and fall of 1976, and as a distinguished visiting professor at the U.S. Air Force Academy in 1981 and 82. Although his primary career focus was the aerospace undergraduate curriculum, Dr. Fowler supervised 82 MS students and 16 PhD students. He has also been highly involved with our ABET accreditation process, both during and since retirement. Welcome, Wally.
Thank you, Clint. Let's see if I can find what I'm supposed to say up here. I want to welcome all attendees and say that we sorely miss all those who aren't able to come tonight. I want to thank you all for coming tonight to honor tonight's, and this is a mouthful, the University of Texas at Austin's Aerospace Engineering and Engineering Mechanics Academy of Distinguished Alumni inductees. Yeah. First off, I'd like to deviate from the print script just a little bit and give you an idea how we got here tonight. The Academy is formed in 2019, late 2018, 2019, the idea came up. And the first class was inducted at a banquet with Paul Lockhart being the MC in spring 2019. The bylaws say that we're supposed to elect officers at the end of this meeting. We're not going to do that. We've already done it. I'll get back to that in a minute. The president, vice president, and director of membership were elected then. And if go ahead and click up the next slide here. Adam Hamilton was the president. I was the vice president, and Byron Tapley was elected as the director of membership at that time. The ASE EM department chair served as secretary treasurer, and that was Noel Clemens at the time. Bylaws say that we only elect every time, we only elect a director of membership and the other two officers move up. In spring 2020, we chose an academy, a class, and banquet was all planned and everything else. And then along came COVID. We all know what happened there. Everything changed. There was no banquet, no department operations were a mess. We had remote teaching. We had work from home, all the bad stuff that had to happen. Mid 2020, I think late 2020, early 2021, Adam wanted to step down. So Byron and I moved up, but we didn't have an election, so we didn't have a director of membership. We selected a 2021 class, didn't have a banquet due to COVID again. We held a Zoom introduction for the 2020 and 2021 Academy inductees. We selected a 2022 Academy class this time around, and we're here to induct the 2020, 2021, and 22 Academy classes. In 2021, we held an electronic election for a VP and a director of membership, and the new officer slide comes up, and we have me as past president, Byron as the new president, and let's see who else. Dan Deans is going to be Dan Deans will be the new vice president, and Jill Myers will be the director of membership. I want to thank all of the Academy officers. They're here tonight, and I'd like for them to stand up. Byron, would you and Jill and Adam stand up? And I forget. Thank you all very much for your service to the Academy. At the end of tonight's banquet, Byron takes over as president of the Academy. I want to say a few words about Byron's influence on the ASE department. Byron got his EM PhD here at UT Austin and became an assistant professor here in 1960. He established the department's orbital mechanics program in 1961 and established the UT Center for Space Research in 1983. Very importantly to me, he served as my PhD faculty advisor, and I graduated as his second PhD student in 1965. Then Byron then was very instrumental in getting UT to hire me as an assistant professor, and when I graduated in 65. Dan Deans will be tonight's MC, and Dan was a 2019 Academy inductee. Dan will become the 2022-2023 Academy Vice President. I'll say more about Dan in a few minutes when I formally introduce him. Jill Myers is a 2021 Academy inductee, will become our Director of Membership. Dan will say more about Jill in a few minutes when he inducts her. Clint Dawson, the new current Aerospace Engineering Department Chair who just talked, serves as our Secretary Treasurer. I will remain on the board as past director for 1 year, and Adam will roll off tonight at the end of the meeting. In addition, I'd like to thank Christy Young, Kendra Harris, Tracy Laird, Sarah Welbys, and Scott Messick, who provided tremendous support to the Academy's inductees, including the planning of tonight's banquet and ceremonies. Will Christy, Kendra, Tracy, Sarah, and Scott please stand to be recognized? Because of the size of the group being inducted tonight, we do not have time for the inductees to present individual remarks. In the place of individual remarks, Kendra has created 3 slides each describing a few of the accomplishments of each of our inductees. We hope that in the future, with only 1 year of inductees to bring up and introduce, that we can have inductee remarks. Now to the important thing we've been waiting for all night long, the induction. As I stated earlier, our MC tonight will be ASE 2019 Distinguished Alumnus Dan Deans. I don't know if you know who Dan is, but he's wearing the orange shirt over here. Dan earned his BS in aerospace engineering in 1990. He is the executive vice president and chief growth officer for Academy. He is a seasoned executive and program manager within the government, military, and aerospace domain. He's also worked in petrochemical and semiconductor manufacturing sectors. Dan has experience in managing large global teams of nearly 1,000 personnel. He's worked with multiple contractors and multiple CONUS and OCONUS sites. Dan also served on the ASE External Advisory Committee and has been a quintessential advisor for the department in connecting Accident, formerly Millennium Engineering, to the Cockrell School and the department. Dan and his wife, Kathy, have been longtime friends, cheerleaders, and supporters of ASE. They funded and named the Kathy and Dan Dean Student Organization Building, organization office during the ASE building grand opening in 2019. We're lucky to have Dan and Kathy on our team. Dan, would you come up here and take over the podium?
Need to lose weight. Welcome, everybody, and thank you so much for this huge opportunity. It's wonderful to see you guys. I'm glad to be here face to face with you again. Thought I'd open up with an Aggie joke, if you don't mind. Would that be okay? All right, I'll try. We'll see if I can make you laugh. And I apologize to the Aggies in the room if there are any. So you hear about the Aggie that moved from Texas to Oklahoma? Yeah, he raised the IQ in both states. I need to give a shout out tonight. I've gotten quite a few comments on this jacket. I won the Longhorn Masters. No, I'm kidding. Actually, this is Matthew McConaughey's. I borrowed it from him. So if Matthew, if you're here, thank you very much. Anyway, thank you, Wally. Good evening and welcome everyone. And as you said, I'm Dan Deans, and I'm really honored to be here as your MC this year and for this induction ceremony for the ASE Academy of the Distinguished Alumni, or as we affectionately call ourselves, the ADA. Well, that's what it stands for. We appreciate you guys coming tonight and help us honor these accomplished and dedicated former students. We have a large number of inductees tonight. Many are my friends, and I'm excited to bring all 29 folks up here and to bring you into the academy. Also, I want to remember Paul and what he did in 2019. He was an awesome MC, so I'm going to try to follow in his footsteps and keep everybody entertained this evening while we get through this. Before I begin, I'd like to let everybody know, as inductees, the ones that are here in person, we're going to begin the ceremony with the introduction of our newest class, which is 2022, and then we're going to do 2021 and then 2020. The 2021 and 2020 classes actually were inducted previously by Wally, with a virtual ceremony. But since we're now able to come together as a group, we'll go through their slides again. The inductees should be prepared to walk up here and once your third slide comes up. So everybody has basically 3 slides that'll come up on the screen. And when your third slide is being read, go ahead and walk up here. You'll get to be with Clint. He'll give you your plaque and you'll get your picture taken. And I'll try to stay out of it with this bright orange coat. Anyway, so without further ado, let's get started on inducting our new members. And I'm really excited to do this. So drum roll, please. Let's begin with the class of 2022. Thank you. And y'all clap as much as you want, but we'll try to keep it to the end of the pictures if you don't mind. So the end of each picture. So yeah, Clint, why don't you go ahead and come up? Our first inductee for 2022 is Thomas Eller. Thomas Eller retired as a professor and is a distinguished graduate of the U.S. Air Force Academy, where he also served as assistant dean and as head of the Department of Astronautics and Computer Science. Tom has also been a member of the source selection board for the Global Positioning System satellites and receivers, and he is the co-inventor of the magnetic momentum dumping for the GPS satellites. Prior to coming to UT to pursue his PhD, Tom served for 10 years as a pilot in the Air Force, including flying C-130s, Hercs to 42 countries and Caribous, C-7As in Vietnam for a year, and earned several combat medals. As a USAFA professor, he taught 39 semester-long courses to over 1,000 students in the Astronautics Computer Science Department. Following retirement from the Air Force, Tom worked for several defense corporations as a high-level manager, where he managed a $100 million startup for Omniport, developing a central system to interconnect the business ops for all telephone companies in the US. Tom says people who've had the greatest impact on his success are Dr. Byron Tapley and Bob Schutz. And at home, he credits his wife. And the most fun he remembers having at UT was attending the football games, hook 'em horns. Tom's one word to summarize his UT experience is excellence, and says Byron Tapley and Wallace Fowler stress that. And the USAFA faculty motto, integrity first, service before self, excellence in all we do. Welcome to the Academy, Tom, and congratulations. Come on up. Thank you for your service, sir. Right over here. Trying not to photobomb here.
Thank you, sir.
Our next inductee is Ron Ferris. Ron Ferris, now retired, enjoyed rewarding careers with both NASA and the Air Force from 1978 through 2011. Post-retirement, he led teams which operated facilities in Europe and in Antarctica, and served as a mission manager for NASA WB-57 high-altitude research flights. Ron has worked on the Hubble Space Telescope repair mission, which contributed to rendezvous proxops techniques in capture/deploy procedures and extravehicular activities. He has served honorably as an Air Force officer, fighter pilot, wartime commander, and 4-star advisor pursuing national objectives. He developed and mentored the next generation of actively engaged thinkers, engineers, patriots, leaders, and contributors. Ron, who worked under the tutelage of Dr. Fowler, developed control algorithms and digital simulations of the space shuttle remote manipulator system while in graduate school. He says Dr. Fowler had the greatest impact on his success. Ron also recalls a funny story from his UT days as a freshman when he traveled to Florida for the launch of Apollo 17, which included staying up all night to catch the flight and returning early so as not to miss class. Wow, that's impressive. When he got back to class, he fell asleep from exhaustion and woke up to an empty room and a stolen wallet, but it was worth it. Goodness gracious. Ron's one word to summarize his UT experience is foundational, and says, UT education formed the basis of my professional career and subsequent life, and shaped it and enabled it. Congratulations, Ron, and welcome to the Academy. Come on up. By the way, you look better in this jacket than I do. Next in 2022 is George Gafka. George has recently, in the last couple of weeks, been promoted to Chief Executive Officer of APT Research, and is CEO. George is the top senior executive responsible for all aspects of the corporation, including exceeding all operational and strategic objectives. He provides mission, vision, and values, ethical expectations, and overall direction to the company. He also leads the executive team, serves as a primary corporate resource and risk manager. Before being appointed CEO of APT, George was the company's executive VP and served as the corporate chief innovation and development officer. He also served as the general manager for the company's safety engineering and analysis center and aerospace sector. Prior to joining APT, George had a distinguished 30-year career at NASA, serving most recently as the chief safety officer and safety and mission assurance director at NASA's Moon to Mars enterprise, which is a gateway human lander, new spacesuit, and lunar surface systems. He also served as the chief safety officer and SMA director for NASA's exploration systems development enterprise. George says there are many people who have made a significant positive impact on his education and career. He has many good memories as a student at UT, including cycling at the Southwest Conference Championship in 1990. One of his funniest memories involved splitting his pants, in front of a crowded conference room on his very first day of work at NASA as a JSC co-op student interim. That must have been funny. George's one word to summarize his UT experience is opportunity, and says the reason for the word choice is self-evident. Congratulations, George, and welcome to the Academy. Come on, sir. One more. There you go. Next is BJ Lee. Unfortunately, BJ could not be in attendance this evening, but BJ but we'll briefly introduce him. Sorry. We hope he will be able to join us in person soon. Bingjin Lee is the president of the Fangchia University, Taiwan Republic of China, and a professor of civil engineering. He earned his PhD with Mark Meir on micromechanical modeling of fiber reinforced metal matrix composites. After completing his studies in the United States, BJ went back to Taiwan, where there he started as an assistant professor at the Department of Civil Engineering at Fangchia University. Within 10 years, he became the dean, and within 5 more years after that, he became the university president. In addition, BJ served as the chairman of the Central Science Park Industry Training Association and the chairman of the China Information Literacy Society. Welcome to the Academy, Bingjin, and congratulations. Next, we have Jimmy Naramore. Jimmy was inspired as a toddler by his father, who built and flew a balsa wood control line model of the Texas Sky Chief aircraft. During his engineering career, Jimmy was a pioneer in the application of computational fluid dynamics to rotorcraft design and analysis. Throughout his career, he performed aerodynamic analysis for the quality assurance process, saving the V-22 program $1.2 million in the first year of operation. He also developed an aerodynamic design and analysis information system that improved visualization, process automation, productivity, and best practices. Jimmy has shared his research in over 60 papers presented at technical conferences in the US and other countries. Jimmy began his career at McDonnell Douglas Aircraft Company's High Lift Technology Development Group, followed by the Cessna Aircraft Company's Pawnee Division Advanced Design Group. He also worked at Bell Helicopter Textron, where he eventually became Chief of Aerodynamics and Acoustics and an Associate Technical Fellow. After retiring from Bell, Jimmy initiated Narfoil LLC and was an independent computational aerodynamics consultant until 2017. Aside from his father's inspiration, Jimmy says that Ken Wernicke had the greatest impact on his career success. His funniest UT memory involved tripping, dropping notebooks, and face planting while trying to take a shortcut to class at UT. Jimmy, I hope your face is okay. Jimmy's one word to summarize his UT experience is inspiring, and says, the classes and professors encourage me to lean in and learn more. Welcome to the Academy, Jimmy, and congratulations. There you go. Hook 'em horns. Next, also not in attendance, unfortunately, Captain Cassidy Norman, who's serving his country out at sea. Captain Cassidy Dudley Norman is unable to be with us this evening because he's currently commanding the USS John C. Stennis naval ship. We hope to be able to recognize Cassidy in person at a future ceremony, but we will briefly introduce him today. Cassidy has supported Operations Southern Watch in the Arabian Gulf, Iraqi freedom in Iraq, enduring freedom in Afghanistan, and inherent resolve in Syria. On a Japan tour in VFA 192, he integrated the Joint Direct Attack munition underway during combat operations and led each of the main departments in VFA 136. He also managed an aircraft carrier of U.S. Harry S. Truman, an aircraft carrier, the U.S. Harry S. Truman, which earned the Battle E Award twice during his tour of duty. Cassidy has locked 702 traps across 6 most recent classes of aircraft carriers. That's a lot of carrier landings. He has flown 116 combat missions in the F-18 and 3,000 flight hours in 44 different types of aircraft. Wow. Ashore, Cassidy served as the Navy's AMRAAM project officer. He was a test pilot for over 40 weapons test programs out of Point Mugu, California, where he was selected as the 2003 VX-30 Test Pilot of the Year. He also served in the Joint Chiefs and Chief of Staff for Navy Warfare Development Command in Norfolk, Virginia. Captain Norman assumed command of the USS John C. Stennis on 31 December 2020. Congratulations, Captain Cassidy, and welcome to the Academy. Next, one of my classmates from 1990, Miss Leslie Finney. Dr. Finney is a manager of the Thermal Sciences and Engineering Department at Sandia National Labs in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Leslie's professional career began in 1997 when she became the first female mechanical engineering professor at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. After 6 years at UIUC, Leslie joined Sandia as a technical staff member in the Engineering Sciences Center. After over 17 years as a technical staff member and a thermal subject matter expert, she was promoted to her current position. I wish you would have tutored me in thermodynamics, Leslie. Leslie's research contributions are in the areas of heat transfer, thermal sciences, and microsystems. Her work focuses on microscale heat transfer, thermal analysis and simulation, and thermal micro actuators. Additionally, she works on experimental techniques, thermal mechanical effects, laser processing, adhesion in microsystems, and microelectromechanical systems reliability testing. To date, she has co-authored 2 book chapters, 49 peer-reviewed journal articles, and 52 papers presented at national and international conferences. Leslie says that her parents have had the greatest impact on her success over the years. She is a current member of the Aerospace Engineering and Engineering Mechanics External Advisory Committee and a strong champion for women in STEM, engaging with girls and women from K-12 to professionals. Should also add that Leslie is now the chair of the EAC. So congratulations, Leslie. Leslie's one word to summarize her UT experience is foundational, and says, it created the foundation for subsequent studies and career. Congratulations, Leslie, and welcome to the Academy. Next. Jana Rebman. Jana is the president and co-owner of Odyssey Space Research, an aerospace engineering services company headquartered in Houston. And Jana's professional career began in 1989 at McDonnell Douglas in Houston, supporting NASA JSC's Rendezvous in Proximity Operations Group. There, she played a significant part of designing the International Space Station docking standoff cross target, originally used by the shuttle and still used today by ISS visiting vehicles. Jana also served as the primary investigator for the handheld LiDAR for a shuttle detailed test objectives flight, and as the JSC Rendezvous Proximity Operations Working Group co-chair. In addition, she worked as the MAGIC team. She worked on the MAGIC team, performing in-depth simulation analysis for the ISS and shuttle remote manipulator arm on on-orbit tasks. After maternity leave, Jana began working at Odyssey and became president and majority owner of the company in June 2008. The company supports several NASA programs, including Artemis Gateway, Human Lunar Lander System, Orion, and ISS. Jana says her mother has had the greatest impact on her success because she insisted Jana not go to college in Oklahoma, thank goodness. Thank you, Mom. And always supported and believed in her dreams. One of the funniest things that happened to Jana during her career was getting a phone call from a man who thoroughly believed he was an alien and needed to explain to her basically how NASA and how gravity works. Jana's one word to summarize her UT experience is ignite, and says, UT ignited my curiosity and desire to learn, launching my professional career and my family. Welcome to the Academy, Jana, and congratulations. Next, Tracy Vogler is a distinguished member of the technical staff at Sandia National Labs. In this role, he has supported a wide range of national security programs through fundamental studies of the behavior of materials at high pressures and strain rates. This work is primarily involved in understanding the strength and failure of materials, as well as phenomena at the engineering length scales that emerge from lower length scales. The research has utilized experimental capabilities, including Sandia's Z machine, gas guns, explosive facilities, the advanced photon source at Argonne, and the proton radiographic facility at Los Alamos. It has also supported the Department of Energy's high performance computing capabilities for continuum, mesoscale, atomic, and ab initio simulations. Goodness. In addition, Tracy has supported the development and sustainment of DOE systems through large-scale simulations and experiments. Tracy has also served in several roles in the American Physical Society's topical group on shock compression of condensed matter. He was elected a fellow of the society in 2019. Tracy chose to list 3 people who have had the greatest impact on his success. Professor John Morton, his instructor for his first solid mechanics class at Virginia Tech, invited Tracy to do research on composites, providing him with his first research experience. Professor Stelios Kyriakides, his PhD advisor at UT, where he says he learned a great deal in the classes he took from him, and even more through the research he did. And last but not least, Dr. Lalit Shabildis, Tracy's mentor at Sandia, who helped him to transition to a new field of shock physics. Congratulations, Tracy, and welcome to the Academy. Congratulations. Next is Walt Williamson. Walt serves as chair of the Department of Engineering at Texas Christian University, TCU, for 20 years before he retired in 2020. Here he helped transform TCU engineering with the planning of a new engineering building that included new lab space and equipment. During his time, he also grew the 8 faculty and staff and 80 students to 20 faculty and staff and 300 students. Walt continues to teach classes at TCU and consults with several organizations. His career began in 1970 at UT Austin. After receiving his PhD, he remained at UT for 4 years, teaching classes and working reentry vehicle flight dynamics. In 1974, Walt moved to Sandia National Labs and began working on high-speed flight testing. He initially provided technical support on about 10 reentry vehicle flight tests. In 1980, he moved to a program management position and began helping acquire funding from government organizations, developing one-of-a-kind flight research vehicles, and conducting high-speed flight tests. He also served on the ASE EM External Advisory Committee. We call it the EAC during this time. Walt says that Byron Tapley had the greatest impact on his success. And he shares a funny story about grad school. When Dr. Sesbahili required all students to be at their desks by 8 a.m., Walt was the only one who came in early. The other students left their lights on and their pencils on their desks. When Dr. Sebahay came in and asked in asking about the whereabouts, Walt said they were in the Taylor tea room. After 2 to 3 days, he quit checking, I guess. Sorry, I may have screwed that up, but it was supposed to be funny. And by the way, sorry about mispronouncing Dr. Zebahay's name. I know better. I read that. Walt's one word to summarize his UT experience is fantastic, and says UT was an intellectually stimulating environment with people who also enjoyed having fun. Welcome to the Academy, Walt, and congratulations. Maybe you could tell the story better, sir. Yeah, well, sorry about that. I screwed that up. So that's the class of 22, ladies and gentlemen. All right, only 2 more hours of this, guys. We'll move on to the class of 2021. And our first inductee is Manley Butler. Manley founded Butler Parachute Systems in 1979 while attending UT Austin as an undergraduate student and has recently sold the company. Congratulations. He now refers to himself as a retired gentleman business founder, rekindling a love of classic cars with fat fenders and big motors. While at Butler Parachute Systems, he provided top-level corporate leadership. Manley's career in aviation began in the U.S. Navy, where he was an acoustic sensor analyst on the S-3A Viking. Although he did not make his first jump until 1973, he was hooked and thus pursued a career in the parachute industry. On April 6, 1999, Manley was awarded a U.S. patent for the BAT sombrero slider, one of the most significant devices ever developed for use with round parachutes. Manley also worked for Paraflight Incorporated in the parachute engineering for the Naval Weapons Center and for the Naval Weapons Center as a project manager. One of the projects he managed during this time was the Aircrew Gliding Escape System program, which concluded with a successful in-flight ejection seat test at 500 plus knots. He also developed the crew parachutes for Spaceship One and Spaceship Two. Manley says that Dr. Fowler has been the greatest impact on his success. You can see Wally wearing a Butler parachute in a photo here. Manley's one word to summarize his UT experience is creativity, and says it helped me to structure my innate ability to visualize solutions. Welcome to the Academy, sir, and congratulations.
Thank you.
You know what they say, why would you ever want to jump out of a perfectly good airplane, right?
No such thing.
Next is Pat Condon. Pat Condon is fully retired from the United States Air Force as a Major General and now spends his time volunteering in a number of local community and national endeavors. Throughout his career, he has managed the logistics support of over 3,000 F-16 aircraft worldwide and 550 Minuteman and Peacekeeper ICBMs. He's also led 135,000 Air Force Association members in advocating, educating, and supporting on behalf of over 700,000 airmen and their families. In addition, Pat played a small role in successfully landing the first humans on the surface of the moon and returning them safely to Earth. Following retirement from the Air Force, Pat served as an aerospace consultant, primarily for companies interested in doing business with the Department of Defense and with the Air Force Systems Program offices. In addition to many military awards and decorations, Pat is a recipient of NASA's Exceptional Public Service Medal and the Air Force Exceptional Civilian Service Award. He was also privileged to be a relay torchbearer for the 2002 Winter Olympics. When asked about UT memories, Pat shared a funny story about his 5-year-old daughter, Susan, coloring a nativity scene. She drew Mary wearing a burnt orange gown, that's awesome, that said, "Texas is for lovers" on the front, just like her own mother's gown. Pat says that General Ron Yates has had the greatest impact on his success. Pat's one word to summarize his UT experience is excellence, and says that the excellent education I received at UT served me extremely well throughout my Air Force career and beyond. Welcome to the Academy, Pat, and congratulations, and also thank you for your service. Thank you, sir. Congratulations. Next is a personal hero of mine, Steve DeLeon. Steve was a senior staff engineer manager with General Dynamics Lockheed Martin Aeronautics Company for 38 years until his retirement in 2012. He started Pecos Country Energy in 2013 as an oil investment firm, and it has grown to a full-fledged exploration and drilling company with the acquisition of Chapel Oil and Exploration Company. While attending UT, Steve and a handful of students founded Pi Sigma Pi, People Serving People, which increased the academic success of underrepresented students at the university. After graduating from UT, Steve worked at General Dynamics, where he continued to be an advocate for UT, recruiting and mentoring minorities and women into the F-16 fighter program. He was eventually named assistant to the president and reported to Charles Anderson directly on special assignments. Steve co-founded the Alliance of Minorities in Engineering, which is called TAME, that focuses on joining the efforts of the community, educators, and technical professionals to encourage the participation of women and minorities in STEM careers. Steve has established endowments at UT for both the Women in Aerospace Engineering and Equal Opportunity in Engineering scholarships. He says that 3 people have made a great impact on his success: Dr. Phil Schmidt, Dr. Fowler, and Charles Anderson. A UT memory that he did not think was funny at the time, but can look back and laugh about it now, involved a time where he was almost arrested outside the UT bookstore for trying to sell his textbooks. Uh-oh. Steve's one word to summarize his UT experience is tenacity, and he says, "I received tenacity from UT, which gave the ability to continue achieving my goals." Congratulations, Steve, well deserved, and welcome to the Academy. Congratulations. A quick personal aside about Steve. He and his wife were basically, in my opinion, personally responsible for helping to increase female enrollment in the aerospace engineering department between 2011 and now. Started out about 8% then, and because of their efforts, it's up, closer to 30%, which is awesome. So, Steve, thank you guys so much. Thank you, sir. Congratulations. Next is Lisa Guerra. Lisa works at NASA headquarters as part of the senior leadership team in the Office of the Administrator. She calls it the ASE suite. In this capacity, since 2014, Lisa addresses a wide range of agency issues particularly around the program management and evaluation acquisition strategy and NASA's operating model. Lisa's professional career began in 1987 with Eagle Engineering in Houston, Texas, developing conceptual designs for spacecraft for human missions to the moon and Mars. She's also worked on the engineering design and formulation team of the James Webb Space Telescope, which is now operating in orbit. Lisa returned to UT in 2007 as a NASA IPA to establish a space systems engineering curriculum in the aerospace engineering department as a pilot for national dissemination through the Space Grant Consortia, and currently serves as on the UT ASE External Advisory Committee. She is the recipient of the 2018 Presidential Rank Award, NASA Outstanding Leadership Medal, and NASA Exceptional Service Medal. Lisa says that Wally Fowler has had the greatest impact on her success because his mission and system design coursework prepared her well for a NASA Graduate Studies Research Grant and to help pilot a systems engineering course at UT Austin. The best thing that happened to her at UT was meeting her husband, Randall Barnett, in the same class. That's awesome. Lisa's one word to summarize her UT experience is space, and says that her UT graduate education afforded her the learning in critical space topics from orbital mechanics to space systems design to estimation theory, giving her the confidence to pursue her dream of working at NASA. Welcome to the Academy, Lisa, and congratulations. Congratulations. Our next inductee is GT Zhu. He's unable to attend this evening, but we hope we can join us next year. GT Zhu recently retired from Shell International Exploration and Production Company. Prior to his retirement, he was the general manager of deepwater projects and engineering at Shell in Houston. Throughout his career, GT has transformed a highly technical project organization to an external benchmarkable best-in-class project delivery organization. He also led a project team to deliver a mega project, Perdido, with his patented concept in a world record water depth of 9,000 feet of water, and it went off without a hitch. GT was granted 3 patents in the area of deepwater development ideas due to his special contributions in implementing oil and gas industry enabling technologies. GT received ASME's Mechanical Engineering Achievement Award and recognition as one of the top 25 engineering newsmakers in the US. After transitioning into the project business leadership role in Shell's deepwater project execution and technology development organization, GT led the organization to deliver several offshore production projects in world record water depth, achieving competitive cost and safety performance results. GT was also an active sponsor of the UT Center of Research in Mechanics, Solids, Structures, and Materials. He says Professor Stelios Kyriakides had the greatest impact on his success. GT's one word to summarize his UT experience is curiosity, and says, I gained a strong foundation for continuous learning to acquire knowledge and skills in new areas. Welcome to the Academy, GT, and congratulations. Next is Jill Myers. Jill is an independent consultant providing management consulting in aviation and aerospace to companies and nonprofit organizations around the world. Jill has had more than 30 years of experience in aviation and aerospace, including 8 years of active duty in the U.S. Air Force supporting communications and radar systems. She has been a private pilot since age 17. Jill has managed the production and delivery of the communication, navigations, and identification system for the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter. She also has made significant contributions to the performance of NATO's airborne early warning and control system, and continues to inspire and support thousands of young girls regarding aviation and aerospace careers through outreach, speaking, and mentoring. In 2019, Jill was elected a fellow of the Royal Aeronautical Society in London. She received the 2022 Aerotime Aviation Achievement Award as part of the International Women's Day celebration. Jill says the funniest thing that happened to her in her career while she was working on a highly classified reconnaissance satellite, and her sister, a teenager at the time, said, I know, You're hiding aliens, aren't you? She says that Judith Resnick, who perished in the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster while she was in school at UT, was the biggest inspiration to her. They were both single Jewish women in engineering, and Jill was inspired by Judith's life and death to strive for excellence. Jill's one word to summarize her UT experience is grounding, and says UT provided a high quality aerospace education that grounded my career. Congratulations, Jill, and welcome to the Academy. Good morning. Unfortunately, the next is also not in attendance. Another classmate of mine, Dr. John Smisher. John Smisher joined the faculty of the University of Tennessee, Knoxville in 2014 as the H.H. Arnold Chair and Goethert Professor. Prior to the University of Tennessee, John had a 23-year career with the Air Force Research Lab, AFRL, where his final position was the chief of the Energy, Power, and Propulsion Sciences Division and program manager for the aerothermodynamics, or program manager for aerothermodynamics. During his tenure at AFOSR, John initiated and led the National Foundational Research Plan for Hypersonics that guided the investments of the DoD, NASA, and national laboratories. He also championed the transition of basic research capabilities that have advanced flagship national hypersonics technology programs and transformed test and evaluation capabilities. He is a fellow of the Air Force Research Laboratory and the AIAA. John says that Professor David Dalling is one of the greatest impacts on his success as one of his mentors. And somehow he included me, Dan, in his funny UT memory quote. In 1989, if you'd have told any of the faculty that Dan Deans and John Smisher would one day be honored as the distinguished alumni, they would have died laughing. It's a great privilege, he said, and this is very kind of him to follow my friend and study partner because in receiving this wonderful honor. So those were John's words, but we did study together quite a bit. John was a much, I don't have enough much is memorized, better student than I was. John's one word to summarize his UT experience is foundation, and says, my education at UT Austin provided the sound foundation for my career. Welcome to the Academy, John, and congratulations, and we wish you were here, sir. Next is Ken Young. Ken was an aerospace engineer for 25 years with NASA, followed by 24 years as an independent space systems consultant and senior manager for several NASA DoD contractors. Ken's professional career began in June 1962 at the newly established Manned Spacecraft Center, now the Johnson Space Center in Houston. In his first 8 years with NASA, Ken became one of the perhaps 24 engineers in the world who were experts on the new disciplines of rendezvous and orbital mechanics as applied to complex space missions for Gemini and Apollo. That led to the highly successful first of the world's first space rendezvous on Gemini 6A and 7 in December 1965, and the first moon landing on Apollo 11 in July 1969. Ken is also one of the 2 NASA engineers who planned and executed the top secret, at the time, U.S. space asset photography of the Space Shuttle STS-1 flight thermal protection tiles to aid in its safe return from Earth's orbit in April 1981. Ken was one of 50 NASA flight operations persons honored at the Seattle Air and Space Museum's Wings of Heroes event for the 40th Apollo 11 celebration, 40th year celebration. In his retirement years, Ken has given several manned space history talks to UT undergraduate students and to retired consulting or continuing education UT alumni. He has also maintained contacts with several UT faculty members, including Wallace Fowler and Byron Tapley, who he says is a UT ASE EM legend. Ken's one word to summarize his UT experience is inspiration, and says, I am inspired to get an aerospace education by the launch of the world's first artificial, I was inspired, sorry, by the world's first artificial satellite on October 5th, 1957. So being an Austinite, I knew UT was the best place to get that education. Congratulations, Ken, and welcome to the Academy, sir. By the way, that concludes the 2021 class. Congratulations, sir. I love to see those horns up. Welcome.
Thanks a lot.
I think I'm going to talk to the chair about getting everybody that's inducted an orange jacket. All right, let's go with the 2020 class. Next up, starting with Richard Cook, who unfortunately is not in attendance tonight. Hopefully he can join us next year. Richard Cook is Associate Director for Flight Projects and Mission Success at NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab, where he oversees all ongoing and planned flight mission design, development, and flight operations activities. In 2013, he was appointed Deputy Director for Solar System Exploration after having previously served as Manager and Deputy Manager for the Mars Science Laboratory project. In those capacities, he was responsible for the design, development, launch, and operation of the Curiosity rover, a very successful project that successfully landed on Mars in August 2012. Richard also led the design and development of the Spirit and Opportunity rovers and led the flight operations activity for Mars Pathfinder and Sojourner, the first ever Mars rover. Richard says his most rewarding accomplishment was successfully landing the Curiosity rover on the surface of Mars. I don't know if you guys remember the eruption in that room when that thing landed, but that was an amazing sight. And also, and that was on August 5th, 2012. He thinks the funniest thing that ever happened to him in his career was having a former employee and fellow grad student at UT become his boss and then eventually director of JPL, Mike Watkins, who's a member of the 2019 class, by the way. Richard's one word to summarize his UT experience is opportunity, and says knowledge, experience, and confidence derived from my time at UT Austin enabled my career successes. Welcome to the Academy, Richard, and congratulations. Next is my good friend, Dr. George Davis. George is the founder and CEO of Emergent Space Technologies, a successful aerospace engineering and software development company that provides high-end engineering support to NASA, DARPA, and the DoD. George began his career as a postdoctoral research scientist in 1996 at the Colorado Center for Astrodynamics Research. He then moved his family to Maryland. His wife Elizabeth was telling this story earlier, where he worked in the NASA Goddard Space Flight Center in the development and testing of spaceborne GPS navigation technology. He also worked at a company called AppNet briefly, an information company that built websites for commercial and government clients. He founded Emergent in 2001, so his company is over 20 years old now. Over his career, George has provided support to the U.S. government in obtaining space-to-space allocation from the ITU World Radio Commission to protect a GPS signal from interference in space. He's also captured the contract with the DARPA Tactical Technology Office to develop multi-satellite GNC flight software for the System F6 program, which is now the basis for his company's autonomous multi-satellite mission flight software product line. George credits his mother for helping him succeed in life and says she demonstrated what it took to work hard and struggle for success. George has served several times as a member of the UT ASE External Advisory Committee, including as our chair, and he's been a lifetime supporter and friend of the department. George, one word to summarize his UT experience is preparation, and says the breadth and depth of the aerospace curriculum prepared me for both technical and business success. Congratulations, friend, and welcome to the Academy. In an indirect way, you guys kind of have George to thank for me standing up here, because he's the one that talked me into coming back and joining the EAC in 2011. So it's all your fault, George. Bless you, brother. Appreciate you.
Welcome, George.
You take that. All right, and unfortunately, also not in attendance this evening is Noboru Kikuchi. Noboru was not able to join, but we hope to see him next year. He's the president of Toyota Central R&D Laboratories, the advanced research institution of the 16 Toyota group companies, including Toyota, Denso, Aisin, Shoki, and others. After earning his PhD, Noboru remained at UT Austin as a postdoc researcher for Professor Tinsley Oden. He became an assistant professor of the aerospace department in 1979. In 1980, he moved to the University of Michigan at Ann Arbor, where he began working as an assistant professor and eventually was promoted to professor. He retired in 2015 as the Roger L. McCarthy Professor Emeritus of Mechanical Engineering at the University of Michigan. While serving as a professor, Noboru became a visiting researcher at TCRDL, Toyota Central R&D Labs, in 2001 and was appointed as the president in 2014. He says his most rewarding accomplishment in his career was initiating a research field of topology optimization of structures and materials based on the homogenization method in computational mechanics. Noboru says that Professor Oden has the greatest impact on his success. Noboru's one word to summarize his UT experience is New World Frontier. Welcome to the Academy, sir, and congratulations. Next, Dr. Dave Korsmeyer. Dr. Korsmeyer is the current acting associate center director at NASA Ames Research Center in Silicon Valley, where he runs all center operations. He is one of 4 senior leaders guiding Ames and is responsible for the overall scope and direction of the center's research, technology, portfolio, and engineering developments, which support NASA's missions in aeronautics, science, exploration, and technology. Dave also manages the NASA Virtual Institutes hosted at Ames, the Ames Internal Research and Development Projects, and the center's external research collaborations. Over his career, Dave developed the Darwin Information Systems for NASA Ames wind tunnels. He has also led the Intelligent Systems Divisions, code TI, at Ames, where he delivered software for JPL's Mars rovers, for the ISS, and for the next rover to the moon. In addition, Dave has led the Ames Engineering Directorate to develop and fly 2 missions to the moon and to fly over 30 nanosats in the past 11 years. He is a recipient of NASA's Outstanding Leadership Medal. Dave says his most rewarding accomplishment was establishing NASA Ames as a premier AI research organization and NASA's Small Set Mission Center. He says that Dr. Hans Mark made the greatest impact on his success. Amen to that. Dave is also a current member and the outgoing chair of the External Advisory Committee for the Aerospace Engineering Department. Dave's one word to summarize his UT experience is comprehensive, and says, I have engaged in multiple technical fields and had a strong technical engineering basis. Welcome to the Academy, Dave. Congratulations, sir. Congratulations. Also, unfortunately, not in attendance tonight, Patrick Litalik. He isn't here, but we hope to see him again next year. Patrick is a professor of mechanics at Institut Polytechnique de Paris. His field of research focuses on applied mathematics and computational mechanics with applications to industry, transport, and biomedical engineering. His current interests focus on the simulation of complex contact problems of nonlinear multi-scale structures of architected materials and on the multi-scale modeling and analysis of soft materials. Patrick has served as a professor of applied mathematics at University of Paris, Dauphine, and is the research director and group leader at INRIA, the French National Institute of Research in Digital Science and Technology. In addition, he has become professor of mechanics at École Polytechnique in Paris, Vice President for Education, holder of the chair, Andre Citoyen, and head of the Laboratory of Solid Mechanics. Patrick has also served as president of the French Society of Applied and Industrial Mathematics. He was editor of the International Journal of Numerical Methods and Engineering, and is a member of the editorial board of Computer and Structures and of Computer Methods and Applied Mechanics and Engineering and AMSIS. He received a CICI award in scientific computing in the Prize Blaise Pascal of the French Academy of Sciences. Patrick says that being a teacher in continuum mechanics and an advisor to the more than 40 PhD students has been his most rewarding accomplishment. He says Professor Tinsley Oden has had a great impact on his success. Patrick's one word to summarize his UT experience is opening to international open access to great professors and lifelong friends. Welcome to the Academy, Patrick, and congratulations. Next is Paul Lockhart. It says you're not here, but I clearly see you. I promised them I wouldn't read stuff I wasn't supposed to read. Paul Lockhart is the Director of Engineering from TIMDAS Technologies Innovations, a service-disabled, veteran-owned small business founded by his wife, Mary Lockhart. He oversees the development lines for PIMDAS to include aircraft-mounted atmospheric sensors, drone satellite antennas, and data analytics for real-time weather predictions for the commercial and government aviation community. Commissioned in the Air Force in 1981, Paul served 26 years on active duty. During his service, he served as a fighter pilot in Europe and as an F-16 test pilot in the US. He was selected by NASA to become an astronaut in 1996. He directed and performed the initial test and evaluation of US state-of-the-art precision weaponry after Desert Storm. Paul designed, flight tested, and developed the DoD's first airborne atmospheric sensor for autonomous operations on a UAV in support of Special Operations Command. Paul is a recipient of numerous awards, including 2 NASA spaceflight medals and 1 NASA Exceptional Service Medal. He served his most rewarding career, his most rewarding career accomplishment was piloting 2 space shuttle missions to the ISS and directing 6 spacewalks, all within 5 months. His second mission, STS-113, was considered by the Director of Flight Crew Operations as the most error-free mission to date. Paul says Dr. Fowler has had the greatest impact on his success, and says, from attending my commencement ceremony to reshaping my thesis to preparing me to be an astronaut, Wally had the vision and foresight to change my desire to be an astronaut from dream to reality, which is awesome. Paul's one word to summarize his UT experience is foundational, and says the skills and knowledge I gained at UT have served me in every assignment. Welcome to the Academy, Paul, and congratulations. And it's an honor to return the favor, sir. Thank you. I must say that Paul definitely does a better job of emceeing than me. Congratulations, sir. Next is Jerry McDowell. Jerry McDowell retired in 2015 from Sandia National Labs after a 35-year career that culminated in the position of Deputy Lab Director and Executive Vice President. Jerry's professional career began in 1972 at the NASA Johnson Space Center as a co-op graduate intern in the Engineering Analysis Directorate, supporting space shuttle design and development. He spent a year at Vought Systems and Space Division, Vought Missile and Space Division, supporting classified space programs before moving to Sandia. In the first decade of his career at Sandia, Jerry provided engineering analysis support to a wide range of hypersonic rocket, missile, and reentry vehicle programs. For the last 2 decades of his career, Jerry worked in the management, which include executive responsibility for the nuclear weapons program and support to the DoD, NASA, and various intelligence agencies in areas of conventional strike, missile defense, information/cyber operations, ISR, counter-conventional strike, missile defense. I'm going back and forth here. Sorry, ISR, counter and non-proliferation and intelligence support. Jerry says his most rewarding career accomplishment was leading high-performing teams to embrace new strategies and directions to pursue and engage in new national security challenges. While reminiscing about his memories as a UT student, he recalls the time he broke Dr. Fowler's Link simulator during his freshman orientation in the summer of 1970. I bet Wally remembers that too. Jerry has also served on the UT Aerospace Engineering External Advisory Committee. He is a recipient of several awards, including the National Nuclear Security Administration Silver Medal. Jerry's one word to summarize his UT experience is perseverance, and says, I learned the value of staying the course when the end goal was valuable, but the journey was challenging. Welcome to the Academy, Jerry, and congratulations. Come together. Next, it's an honor to talk about a friend and someone who unfortunately can't be with us because of his untimely death, Brendan O'Connor. He served as Vice President for Advanced Programs at Emergent Space Technologies until his untimely death in late September 2020, several months after being chosen for membership in our Academy. In this capacity, Brendan, he led a group of 21 engineers here in Austin responsible for the development of unique software and engineering products for a variety of aerospace industry customers. Brendan's professional career began at McDonnell Douglas Corporation in June of 1995 as a developer for the orbit determination software for the Iridium project. He went on to become the co-technical lead for Iridium's mission planning software and stayed with the project through its initial operations. In 2008, Brendan joined Emergent and became George Davis's business partner, where his primary focus was on developing flight software for spacecraft. He also worked on missions for the DoD, DARPA, and NASA. He was the software architect for the DARPA Systems F6 cluster flight software and continued to develop and promote autonomy for multi-satellite missions in follow-on programs, including DARPA's Blackjack program. Brendan was involved in developing innovative techniques for his producing reliable flight software and flight software for mission autonomy. He produced emergencies processes for developing flight software for multi-satellite systems, which he said was his most rewarding accomplishment during his career. When asked about a funny memory while at UT, Brendan said, introducing George Davis to Neil deGrasse Tyson at a conference and seeing the look on his face. There it is. Brendan also served as the ASE EM adjunct lecturer at UT Austin. He was awarded 16 US patents and was an instrument-rated pilot who enjoyed flying in the skies of Central Texas. Brendan's one word to summarize his UT experience is freedom, and said, UT Aerospace gave me the freedom to pursue what I found interesting. We're happy that Brendan's family could be here with us tonight and to celebrate his successes. Brendan's son, Liam, will be accepting the award this evening. Congratulations to Brendan. Liam, come on up. We're so sorry for your loss. Brendan was a wonderful guy, and I enjoyed working with him so much. He is missed, but we'll never forget him. Thank you. Unfortunately, also not in attendance tonight is Dr. Tinsley Oden. He's a legendary professor of aerospace engineering, engineering mechanics, and mathematics and computer science here at UT Austin. Was elected an honorary member of the Academy. He is the founding director of the Oden Institute for Computational Engineering and Sciences, founded in 1973 and named in his honor in 2019. His recent research includes working on selection and validation of models of complex molecular systems, uncertainty quantification, adaptive control, and on stochastic phase field models of tumor growth. Tinsley is a member of the U.S. National Academy of Engineering and the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. Recently, he was named named Emeritus Editor-in-Chief of Computer Models in Applied Mechanics and Engineering. He is a founding member of the International Association for Computational Mechanics and of the U.S. Association of Computational Mechanics. He has authored or edited over 600 scientific works, including 58 books and 80 book chapters, and has supervised 34 master's students and 45 PhD students. Tinsley has been knighted by the French government with their Chevalier dans l'Ordre des Palmes Académiques. And my daughter would really kill me. My French is lousy. I'm so sorry. And was awarded in the 2013 Honda Prize laureate for his role in creating the field of computational mechanics. Tinsley says his most rewarding accomplishment is authoring the 1972 book, Finite Elements of Nonlinear Continua, because it demonstrated the great potential of computational methods for producing quantitative realizations of the most complex theories of physical behavior of materials and mechanical systems. It also established a new discipline built upon concepts in mathematics, computer sciences, physics, and mechanics. Tinsley says his mother, Sarah Lyles, had the most significant impact on his success. Tinsley's one word to summarize his UT experience is exhilarating, and says the UT environment focuses on world-class faculty and students and has a fierce dedication to excellence. Congratulations, Dr. Ode, and welcome to the Academy. Next is Susan Utz. Susan retired as the Vice President of F-16, F-2 Japan, and F-21 India programs for Lockheed Martin Aeronautics. In this role, she was responsible for the company's worldwide F-16, F-2, and F-21 aircraft portfolios, including financial and contractual commitments throughout each platform's life cycle. She served as the primary customer interface for all domestic and international programs. Susan's professional career began at LTV, now Lockheed Martin, in 1987 as an aerodynamics and flight dynamics engineer. Throughout her career, she developed an innovative tool to analyze wind tunnel test data more quickly. She also led the development and execution of a highly successful classified flight test program at White Sands Missile Range. In addition, Susan led a multifunctional team to develop and stand up the F-35 Japan production facility in Nagoya, Japan. Susan has held a variety of technical roles and leadership positions throughout her 32-year career. She says her most rewarding career accomplishment has been developing leaders in engineering and program management who provide world-class products that support our warfighters in both fighter aircraft and missile defense systems. Susan said that Ed Walters, Vice President of and an electrical engineer at Lockheed Martin, has had the greatest impact on her success. Susan's one word to summarize her UT experience is opportunity, and says it empowered me to fully realize a highly successful technical and business career. Congratulations, Susan, and welcome to the Academy. Congratulations. Unfortunately, Dick Perkins is not able to be with us tonight, but we hope he can join us again next time. Dick was co-founder of Cox and Perkins Exploration, an independent oil and gas exploration and production company in Houston. From 1977 to 2013, C&P primarily operated onshore Texas Gulf Coast with some additional operations in Louisiana. Dick's professional career began in 1966 with General Motors, where he conducted high-rate uniaxial and biaxial stress deformation of material research on polymers and composites and rocks. He also worked as a reservoir engineer for Humble Oil and Refining Company, now ExxonMobil, and then as the independent petroleum engineer. Dick joined with Jerry Cox to explore for oil and gas starting in mid-1977 until ceasing active operations in 2013 as Cox and Perkins Exploration Incorporated. As VP of Cox and Perkins Exploration, Dick was responsible for the drilling and production of a few hundred wells that encompass vertical, directional, and horizontal profiles. They range in depth from shallow to deep and encountered reservoir pressures from normal to highly geopressured. Dick says his most rewarding career accomplishment was moving from experimental mechanics to oil and gas engineering to an independent O&G operator. He says that his parents, both UT grads, and I guess he got great genes, and professors, and Mr. Pennebaker, who hired him to work at Humble Oil, had the greatest impact on his success. Dick has served as a member of the Aerospace Engineering Advisory Board since 2003 and at the UT Austin Development Council since 2007. He and his wife Judy have proudly supported ASE EM student projects for many years. Dick's one word to summarize his UT experience is opportunity, and says, UT gave me the engineering approach to problem solving. Welcome to the Academy, Dick, and congratulations. That is our 2020 class. So how about one more round of applause for all these great people? Congratulations, everyone, and welcome to the Academy. Before we close our evening, I want to have a little bit more somber moment and recognize a great man who has unfortunately passed away recently, Dr. Hans Mark. I'm sure everyone here is already aware of his passing, and you know that he was also elected as an honorary member of the Academy in the 2019 class. He leaves a legacy of exploration and discovery, warmth and inspiration, leadership and innovation. In addition to being a champion of research and technology, he was known for bringing a personal approach to the UT community. And I, of all people, have an amazing story in that regard. Born in Mannheim, Germany in 1929, Dr. Mark and his Jewish father, also known as the father of polymer science, and his mother and brother escaped the Nazi regime and came to the US. After earning his bachelor's degree from Berkeley and a PhD from MIT, he began conducting nuclear weapons research at Lawrence Livermore Lab. It's nearly impossible to list all of his great accomplishments. Also, he was basically known as the god of aerospace. But here are some of the titles he's held over the years. Director of NASA Ames Research Center, Deputy Administrator of NASA, Director of the NRO, Under Secretary and Secretary of the Air Force, Director of Defense and Research and Engineering, DDRE, and UT Chancellor, and even more importantly, I think, Professor. Dr. Fowler was quoted in Dr. Mark's UT obituary, and I couldn't have said it better myself. Hans Mark was an amazing mentor, an insightful engineer, a wise advisor, and a good friend. His sage advice as he provided his office along with strong coffee before 7 a.m. was priceless. We who worked with him have been blessed beyond measure. A wonderful quote, Wally. I wanted to invite Dr. Korsmeyer to come up and say a few more words about Dr. Mark.
Thanks, Dan. I appreciate the opportunity to share a few memories. I'll be quick because I know it's hot and I know it's been a long night, but I want to remember a wonderful person. We've had phenomenal mentors, leaders, guidance, people that have so impacted our life over the years, coming out of the UT system, and particularly this wonderful, wonderful department. Dr. Mark had a huge and phenomenal career. I mean, look at the things he did. And yet at the end of his career, older than myself, he came and became chancellor of the UT system. I had a chance to work with Dr. Mark both as a student and professionally. He was my dissertation committee chair. Dr. Fowler was my advisor. They got me through a rather challenging dissertation and got me out the other side. I was able to stay in touch with Dr. Mark because I was at NASA Ames. I asked him, where should I go after graduation? My wife got a job out in the Bay Area, and he said, Dave, go to NASA Ames, start at the top of the food chain, and you'll figure it out from there. I've never left. One of the other wonderful things is Dr. Mark stayed intellectually engaged for the entirety of his life, which is something that I see endemic across our community. It's phenomenal. He would come out to NASA Ames and help us work on our quantum computing activities, all the way up to 2018 when he sent a short email saying, Dave, I'm sorry, I can't come. I've been diagnosed with dementia. I will no longer be able to join you. That was very sad, but through my connection with UT, I was able to come out at the EAC meetings and able to keep up with Dr. Mark until the beginning of COVID. At the end in 2019, when I last saw him, he really didn't know who I was, but he was surrounded by the books he loved, by the research he enjoyed. And as I left, he gave me a hook 'em horn sign. The man bled orange. Please remember Dr. Mark as we remember all our family and friends and others we've lost in the past time. And thanks to UT, thanks to Dr. Mark. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Dr. Mark had a profound impact on my life personally, and I'd like to share this story. And it does have a little humor to it, but if you will humor me, in January of 1990, I had very few prospects because I was a horrible student and I was about to graduate. Hopefully, I wasn't sure at the time. But we hatched this harebrained scheme to go visit Dr. Mark, who was the chancellor at the time, and implore upon him to write myself and my friend and classmate a letter of recommendation for entry into Air Force officer training. And Dr. Mark, who was a gracious human being, agreed to meet with us. And he met with me, I seem to remember, was somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 hours. And we spent time. He asked me a lot of questions, got to the bottom of why I wanted to join the Air Force. I told him I really, really wanted to be a fighter pilot. I think I repeated that probably 300 times in the course of the 2 hours. And after meeting with Dr. Mark, he graciously, and I think I was rather surprised, to agree to write me a letter of recommendation. Needless to say, I went through the process of applying to Air Force officer training. In March of 1990, I received a letter saying thanks, but no thanks. So I didn't get into the Air Force at the time. Over the years, I did manage to come back to UT and occasionally got to be in Dr. Mark's presence, which was a real honor, especially up to the time when he actually did step away and retire for good. And many of you might remember he had a day-long symposium, which was very well attended, and also a banquet that evening to celebrate his long and illustrious career. I was blessed on that day to be able to speak to Hans for a minute. And I asked him, I said, sir, do you remember writing a letter of recommendation for me for the Air Force? And he said, Dan, I do remember that. He said, I probably have that letter still in my file somewhere because I keep everything. And I said, sir, you were the Secretary of the Air Force. You were the Deputy Administrator of NASA. You were the DDRE. You had every important position in the entire US government. I'm just curious, if you wrote me a letter of recommendation, how would that not help me get into the Air Force? And he looked at me, and you guys know that twinkle he has in his eye, and that I'm going to try to say this without getting emotional, but he said, Dan, if I'd have wanted you to get in the Air Force, you would have gotten in. He put his hand on my back and he said, you had a different career. You had a different path and you did just fine. And I sensed it at the time. He said, also, you wanted to be a fighter pilot. You came in wearing very thick glasses and I just didn't think it was meant to be. And you know what? That was divine intervention. God used him very profoundly at that time because not too long after that, I met my beautiful wife, Kathy. We've been married for 31 years. I went off to work at NASA's Johnson Space Center. And that was a long, crazy story. But anyway, he profoundly affected my life. So he is gone, but he will never be forgotten. And let's take a moment of silence to remember both Hans, Mark, and Brendan O'Connor, if we could. Thank you very much. So we've come to the end of our program. And before I turn it back over to Clint for some closing remarks, I want to put in a public service announcement. You guys got to meet Sarah Welby, who's in the back of the room. Earlier, she is our assistant director for development for the Cockrell School, and also has become a friend to this department over the last year in her role of helping us raise funds. And I implore everyone to consider giving to the department. We are at a very important place in the development. Nowhere is aerospace more important than today. So big space is exploding. We need to grow this department and provide space to bring in new students, and the department needs your help. So please consider giving to the department. Please consider sharing of your resources. It is very, very important, and it's something that we really, really need to consider. Thank you very much. So I'd like to bring up a slide showing our gold sponsors. Marcia and Dr. Fowler have sponsored a table this evening. Thank you very much. Also, Emergent Space Technologies, George Davis and his company have graciously given. And also my company, Accient, as well. So thank you to our gold sponsors. Thank you for enduring my exciting reading technique. And thank you again for this wonderful honor of standing here with you guys tonight. I truly enjoyed it. Now I'll turn it back over to Clint for some closing remarks.
This is mine. This is Wally. Okay. Sorry, just finding the right script here. Thank you, Dan. Back on script here. Thanks, Dan, for taking the time to induct the new members of our academy. Please give Dan and all our new academy members one more round of applause.